Hi, I'm the 13th Wolfman, and this is my review for Cult Epic's movie Deathbed, The Bed That Eats. Now, this movie has a really different history to it. In 1972, George Barry got enough money to make the movie he wanted to make. And it took him 5 years to make a completed, what they call an answer print. So from 1972 to 1977, they were basically shooting film, off and on. In 1977, they got, like I said, they got together what they called an answer print. And George Barry shopped this movie around, but this was before home video, and there were companies that were kind of interested, but they didn't like the fact that they heard stuff like, oh, it cost $10,000 to make, or that's a little too pricey, or, so they passed on it. 1980s came, and he shopped it around a little bit more for home video, and they passed on it. So this movie wound up in a vault somewhere. And in the 1990s, George Barry was looking through the internet, looking at the internet. He went to a page called Scarlet Street Forums, and he looked on there, and people on there were talking about this movie, and someone was reviewing it. And he couldn't believe that someone was reviewing a film that he knows was, as far as he's concerned, never released in the U.S. But it had been released in Germany and Spain and England and Australia and all these other places. So he got hold of somebody that got him in touch with the guy that owns Cult Epics. And in 2003, they put out Deathbed. 25 years after making the first film. After putting the film all together, it finally got released. All the releases you see of this movie prior to 2003 were bootlegs and pirates, and I guess it's one of the most pirated films out there. It has a small cult following. It is one of the odder films. There's this mansion in this bed, and anyone that shows up at this mansion, whether it's just out of the way, no one's lived in this mansion for years, but there's still this bed in this one room, and anyone that lays on this bed winds up getting eaten by this bed, and it's actually a really cool process. It's basically like the bed is filled with hydrochloric acid or something like that, and you just kind of like see it devour stuff, and it looks really cool. And it actually so these three girls go out to have a picnic somewhere, and they wind up at this place, and one of the girls goes missing. Well, the one girl, not the girl that went missing, but one of the other two girls, has a brother who is looking for her, and he winds up out in the same area, and he finds her. And that guy is played by William Russ. William Russ was, if anyone is a child of the 90s, remembers Boy Meets World, he's the guy that played the father. He's in this movie. But yeah, Cult Epics did a really nice job with this movie. There were a few pops, the footage looks really nice. Now, the special features, there's a new transfer from a digital 16mm print, a 4-page book of liner notes, the video introduction by the director, and this is the uncensored version. Now, the video introduction by the director, George Barry, is basically, I almost gave you word for word what he said, telling you the history of the movie. I would like to get George Berry to actually sign this, you know. He's not, I think this was his only movie. That's what would make it so cool, to get him to sign it, you know. But, yeah, so what would I give this? I would give this a 2 1/4 chainsaws out of 4. It's not the greatest film, but it is above average. You know, I consider 2 chainsaws average. It's just a little bit above average. It's a decent film. There are kind of parts where it drags, you know. There's not a lot of talking, to be honest. I mean, there's one guy telling the story about what's going on, but other than that, you know, you don't feel like there's a lot of interaction with a lot of the characters. So it kind of hits its low moments, you know, the slow and low moments. But it's an okay movie. I think Cold Epics did a pretty good job with this movie. I'll leave the link to Cold Epics below so you guys can check them out. So yeah, it's 2 1/4 chainsaws out of 4 chainsaws. Yeah. I'm the 13th Wolfman. I'm on the prowl.